Fantasy XIII is a beautifully designed game that comes close to becoming a classic, but falls a bit short with some uninspired characters and a restrictively linear campaign. The game is set in the world of Grand Pulse, where the main focus of the story is centered around an area called Cocoon. It begins with a group of people getting evicted from Cocoon after coming in contact with a foul sea, a mechanical being that has the capability of marking a human and making them their servants. These servants are called Lassie. They are branded with a symbol representing Pulse or Cocoon and given a focus, which is a mission they have to complete. If they complete their mission, they transform into a crystal and gain eternal life. If they don't, they become a mindless monster called Seath. You play up to 6 different characters. Lightning is your main protagonist, who is a former soldier who set out to try to find Sarah, her sister. For the most part, she plays a very straightforward, tough girl act. They do a great job on making her look awesome when she kicks ass. But when it comes to explaining her tough past, you feel there's not enough emotion being delivered in her lines of struggle and pain, surprisingly leaving the main character as the least interesting person in your party. And then we have Snow, who's a cocky 21-year-old, who is the leader of Team Nora, or the Resistance. For the most part, he spends most of the game thinking very highly of himself as the hero who will save the day for Cocoon. But his main focus is to save Cocoon so he can save his loved one, Sarah, which, for the most part, you root for him in the game. And then when we finally meet the girlfriend for the first time, she ends up looking more younger than you actually thought she was, which ends up making things very awkward when they start having these romantic sort of conversations, which I really didn't want any part of. Then we have Hope, who is a young boy whose mother died during the opening battle scene, and blamed the whole ordeal on Snow. The rest of the game is spent with him trying to gather up enough strength to tell Snow how he really feels about him, which can be a bit tiresome to see the kid try to gather up enough courage for 10 plus hours, but towards the end you'll find a liking to the kid. Vanille, who was grouped up with Hope on the train during the beginning of the game, she's mostly used for narration and tries to encourage Hope to talk with Snow in any way that she can. She also has a friendship with Fang, who will set out to try to find Vanille after being split up a while back ago. You find that Vanille has the personality of a child, and perhaps too childish for my personal taste. I find that every time the game has a great moment, Vanille's narration starts after, and it really ends up killing that moment. Even though she comes to her own at the end, I honestly can say that if developers took her out of the game, it would have made for a little bit better experience and you wouldn't have to change much of the story. Saz is a former airship pilot who grouped up with Lightning at the beginning of the game. He's mostly used for comic relief and even to the point of having a baby chocobo in his head. Sure, his antics could be a bit over the top sometimes, but he ended up being one of my favorite characters in the game. Though the story overall isn't the best in the series, with some characters giving very predictable roles given the genre that they're in, you may still find a character or two that may have you playing the game until the end. The gameplay consists of running around in third person through different areas, grabbing any items you can find around the corner. And I do mean that literally, except for a pretty nice sized area towards the end, you'll find yourself going through a very linear path. There's moments here and there where you can stray from that path, only moments later to bring you back to the main one, which is really unfortunate seeing the game is so beautifully made, and the CG cutscenes are simply the best in the industry. And the world for the most part is pretty well thought out. Just to move in a straight line and not feeling part of the world is really a huge letdown. The combat starts when you come into contact with an enemy. You get a group of 3 characters max per battle. Each character is given up to 4 commands. Auto battle, which will automatically set up the proper attack for your combat scenario. For most people, they're going to use this command all the time. It makes most battles extremely easy to take on, but towards the middle of the game you'll be facing tougher foes that will take more strategy to defeat. And that's where the paradigm system comes in. The paradigm system allows you to program 6 different roles that the characters can perform in certain formations in battle. Saboteur, which can weaken enemies, Synergist, which can strengthen your group, and Sentinel, which can help shield your party. All these moves take up ATB slots, or active time battle. You make the choice of how many combo hits you place on an enemy. The higher the combo hit, the longer the slots take to fill to create that action. Farther into the game you get, the more quickly and precise you have to be with what character has what role, leaving you with a quick death if you're not paying attention. For every fight you win, those points goes into Crystarium, a level system where you can upgrade your party with various nodes that represent both bonus health, strength, and magic, or provide new abilities or accessory slots. During different moments in the story, the player will gain access to new levels and crystals. Final Fantasy XIII isn't quite the revolutionary RPG Square fans were hoping for, but the gameplay mechanic is still fun and challenging at times, If you're a Japanese RPG fan, I can't see why not giving this game a shot, which is why I gave Final Fantasy XIII an 8 out of 10 score.